Hello, good evening. Cooper, sit down. Come on, lad. Come on. I'm a couple of minutes late, so I do apologise if anybody's listening. I just could not get myself to log into StreamYard for some reason. It was being really awkward. So I shall do my usual yattering for about 15 minutes to see who pops in or who doesn't, and then I will start talking about these mysterious deaths. You can't hear me? Hello, pork chop, anyway. Can you hear me now? Oh, right. Okay. I thought I was here anyway. You can have a listen to me while you're in the bath soaping your bits. Because I think you missed this one the other night. Well, what we were talking about on, what night was it? Was it Friday I came on? So, some mysterious deaths in America. So, been talking about that. I'm going to talk about some more tonight. But I will just fart about a cutter. Oh, did I? Oh, all right. That's a bit weird. Oh, well, hopefully it won't do that again. I'm just going to kick about for about 15 minutes, like I usually do, see who pops in. Just, no, you're not. You're running the bath. I can hear it. Just as an aside, have you seen? I've got one scheduled for Sunday with Denny. So that should be quite entertaining. I can't believe you've put that in the chat. So for anybody, I know there's some people listening, and like I always say, you're very welcome to join the chat and you're very welcome not to. It's entirely up to you. Tonight I am going to be talking about some mysterious animal related deaths. Hiya, Starlight, my love. How are you? I've not seen you for a little while. Oh, and you've got your shield up. Lovely. Good to see. I'm just prattling on till people come in. So these mysterious deaths that are attributed to animal attacks, yet for some strange reason they can't tell you what it was. Oh no! Have you been busy or have you not been so good? Or tell me to shut up if it's none of my business, which is absolutely fine. But I do like to ask how people are. And I'll admit, I do know that burnt out feeling. I was feeling, getting this house move out of the way, and I just felt like death warmed up. And Porky will tell you, I did that first week here. After the move was completed, I was just falling asleep every night. It was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I was just unconscious, and I think it was just, when you are burnt out because you're running around and you're busy and you finally get a chance to relax and you just hit the wall, don't you? Oh, too much work, not enough rest. Oh, I hear you. Well, will you get time off over the bank holiday weekend? Hopefully you don't have to work. I've got a wedding on Saturday. It's the eldest of all my nieces and nephews. She gets married on Saturday. She should have got married in 2020, and 15th of April the wedding was booked for, and obviously lockdown occurred. Was it the 23rd or something of March? So the first wedding had to get ditched, and it was knocked on for 12 months. And then same thing happened again in 2021. It got knocked on again because they went into lockdown. So third time lucky. Three's a charm, as they say. So we've got I've got that on Saturday. That's an all-dayer. And then Sunday, we've got an invitation to go to my uncle's for Easter Sunday lunch. And then Sunday night, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the lovely Tismy Denny will be joining me on panel. So we're going to have an incognito night. You can come as whatever you like. And I'll have Denny up on panel. And then anybody else who wants to join in, I'll just keep dropping the link. You can come up. We're just going to have a silly, daft night talking absolute shizzle. And you know what normally happens when me Denny comes up on the panel, it just dissolves into hysterical laughter. So I'm hoping that'll be good fun for everybody. Oh, do you love weddings, Starlight? I think I'll probably cry. I think I will probably cry because I know you shouldn't have favourites. You shouldn't have favourites, but out of all my nieces and nephews, and I've got a lot of nieces and nephews, Dan is my favourite of everybody, because I think it was because when she was born, because she was the first one, and I spent a lot of time with her, and I'd take her out and I taught her to horse ride, and you know, when she was little, she'd come up and I'd teach her to ride my old pony, and you know, so I just spent a lot of time with her, and also she's very similar to me. And when my sister and I have been together, and you know, like when she met her future in-laws, and I was there as well, and the whole family were meeting them, and she thought Tom's mum thought I was her mum. So it's am I your favourite acts in this house? Thank you. Probably because I'm the only axe in this house. So yeah, so it should be really nice. I mean, you know, they've got a family now here in Thomas, and they've got a beautiful home. So, and it's another excuse to see all the family. Mrs. M, hello, lovely. How are you? Have you got the gremlins with you, or are you free of little mini terrors tonight? And have you been back to that pub and had one of those huge cake slices yet? Because Porky and I would like to know. I felt right daft as well this morning. I texted Green Eyes because, you know, she'd said the other day that I think she was on Friday, and she said her mum was coming over next Tuesday. Well, I obviously thought she meant today, Tuesday. So I'd sent her a text this morning saying, "Hope your mum lands safely and everything's fine, and you know, made up for you." Me and Porky send our love. And then she texted me back. She's like, "No, it's next Tuesday." But thank you. Yes, I'm still in Gremlin Land. No, not been yet, but I'm looking forward to going. Well, Mrs. Berkeley, I'll tell you what. If if it's on a day where I don't have to work and you're stuck for, you'll have to give me a shout and I'll meet you there and we'll have a cake. No, it wasn't in your nosy nurse. I was sending you regards. You know, green eyes saying tell Porky I love him, and you were like, you know, she's not made of wood in your usual shrinking violet-esque way. So no, I was just saying to her, I hope that she has a good we had about nosiness, you cheeky get. Anyway. I don't know if you heard Mrs. Mercury. I was telling Starlight, well, I'm going to do a live on Sunday night. And, you know, as it's a very holy day, obviously, I'm going to be completely irreverent, and I'm having Tismy Denny up on panel. So, so we're going to do another incognito night. Tiz is going to come up on panel. And we're just going to have a bit of raucousness. So he said we wanted to know if Mrs. M had been for cake. Oh, did I say we? I meant me. Sorry. I thought you were on about green eyes. Okay, I take that back, Mrs. M. It was me who wanted to know if you had a cake. Oh, I keep getting sussed out. Anywho, not that holy according to the text I just got off my boss. Oh, what did he say? You'll have to let us know before I start in with my in with these mysterious deaths. Hiya, Simples. How are you, sweetie? I'm hoping tonight will be up your street, Simples, love. But I'm just waiting to find out what Porky means with his saying Sunday was a holy day. I'm not going to ask a lady if she's been stuffing her face. I understand that. Hi, Simples from Starlight. And Porky. What's so go on, what's your boss meaning according to the text you just got off your boss about Sunday not being that holy? Do you? Oh, right. What time? Cooper, stop it. Sorry, we should have had this discussion away from... Oh, God. Don't make me feel really bad, Mrs. Mercury, because I've just read your message and I realise that I still have forgotten to send you the tiger bread recipe. Oh, God. Porky, give me a poke later on to send Mrs. Mercury my tiger bread recipe, because I'm losing the plot. Anyway. Simple, just have to make my tea, but we'll listen. Couldn't do Friday as Morgan was here. He's getting a bit scared to go to bed for some reason, so I was up here with the television on. Oh, poor little Morgan. Oh, do you know, though, I think kids sometimes as well, they just go through some, it's like unidentifiable fears. I remember doing it as a kid. Oh, it's not Mrs. Mercury. There's no excuse for being that forgetful. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had a spell of it, Simples, and I can actually remember it, but mine was about I don't know why, because I'd never, I'd not been around death or anybody who died, and I don't know whether it was because my mum was so poorly and I was being, we were being looked after by my nana, but I started having this horrendous fear of my nan dying. And I was terrified. I didn't want to go to sleep at night in case she wasn't alive the next morning. Really stupid because she wasn't ill. Can't understand why we have a 1 minute delay when we're both on the same Wi-Fi. Yeah, but you're at a higher altitude. Maybe it takes longer for the Wi-Fi to run upstairs and into the bathroom. Right. Anyway, I'm going to stop prattling on. So, if you all heard on, well, let's have a look. I think because his mum's aunt died recently, he knows grandpappy died, so he's putting things together. Okay. So it sounds similar to what I had. I, like I said, I don't know if it was, I kind of maybe realised because I didn't know my mum was terminally ill. I didn't know that. But I think it was just the fact that she was that ill and we were relying on another relative, and then the fear of that relative going. So, poor little mite. Hello, Captain Spaulding in the house. How are you, lovely? And thank you so much for giving me that little shout out on your channel. That was so kind of you. Thank you. And again, for anybody who hasn't subbed, Captain Spaulding Records Revisited has got a cracking channel where they discuss music. They do some good lives. Obviously, being in America, the times for us in the UK are a bit out of whack. However, I think I've caught one actual live, but he leaves them. He's like me, he leaves his lives up and he can go back and have a listen. Really good, really interesting stuff. He's done those chats and he's done some good chats about Bundy. Well, not chats, read throughs about Bundy, and so on. So yeah, please check his channel out. Give him a sub if you haven't already. So I'm going to presume and probably be wrong, that most of you are aware of what we discussed on Friday about the beast of Land Between the Lakes in Tennessee. The murders that occurred in 1982. And if you can hear that heavy breathing, I just want to say that it is not Porky, it's the dog. I did live my lives up, but I got a troll that has been messing with me, so I started deleting. Oh no! Oh, for God's sake, Captain, that's shit. Do you know, some people, they've got nothing better to do with their lives, have they? Ourselves. Oh, well, all the more reason then. Please, everybody, give Captain a sub and a follow and show him a bit of love and support. Hey up, Butte, KMA and chat. Hope everyone is well. Hello, the lovely Denny. For those who didn't hear, Denny and I are going to be doing a live on Sunday, 8 p.m. UK time. So we are going to do incognito and you can come as whatever you like. And Denny's going to come up on panel and we're just going to chat shit. Absolute garbage like we always do. And as you all know, she's bloody hysterical. So we will obviously have lots of laughs. I think we all need it. Pork chop hide Dempster. Hey, boo, sorry you're getting hassled. Oh, 14. Oh, for Christ's sake. There's some real knobheads, aren't there? And in case you just heard that thunk then, one knobhead, little black and white knobhead. My dog has just jumped off the sofa and cracked his head on the coffee table. No feeling where there's no sense. Mrs. Mercury. Oh, I must tell you, I think my granddaughter, Carrie. I love how you've got Carrie and stop. Carrie and Chucky and Damien. I think my granddaughter saw the black puma panther in the field near their house. Luckily, she was on the school bus. It was the next village to theirs. Are they the ones in? No, you did tell me. Is it Knutsford? Denny, hey, Porkinator. Yeah. Hello, Paula, love. How are you doing? I like how Porky's now the Porkinator and Denny's the Dempster. Oh, I didn't know there were any down there, Mrs. Mercury. Yeah, you shout him, take him in the bath with you, because he's pissing me off. Oh, do you mean Somerset with Mercury? So no, could loose, large black cat. No, Denny, Knutsford in Cheshire. And there's been there was something this week in the paper. There was some skeletal looking creature caught on a night camera in somebody's back garden. I can't remember where it was. I think it was down south, and it was it looked like a chupacabra. Weird looking thing. Panther cock. What? What the hell? Oh, it always comes back to cock with you, doesn't it, Denny? Dear me. Right. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump straight back into what we're talking about tonight. So, Friday we were discussing the monster, the beast at Land Between the Lakes, which is in Tennessee. There have been a few horrific murders there, deaths, so on, unexplained, and it's been attributed to this beast. Now, I think you may have, when we were talking about dogmen the first time, and if any of you may or may not remember, I mentioned that there had been an unexplained death, well, unexplained, I'm going to say that loosely, of an elderly woman. I think she was 77 years old, and they were thinking she'd been killed by a pack of wild dogs. And we very loosely touched on that in one of my lives a month or two ago. So that then got me thinking about some of these different cases that are occurring in America, and they're all very similar. So it's along the same lines of the things that happened at LBL, and where there were at least 3 cases of fatalities. And I'm looking at similarities with these things. So give me 1 second, because the dog has now started making himself sick again with heartburn. He's an absolute idiot. So I'm just going to give him a little touch of milk. Give me 1 tick, guys, and then I'll get straight back on it. There, good boy. Right. Thank you for that. Oh, you've restarted to see if it's killed the delay. Okie dokie. Yeah, only a little dribble of it. He's got heartburn because he's getting himself wound up because I'm talking on, to somebody other than him. Right. So I'm just going to our milk. Right, I'm going to crack on. So, what got me into this? Hi, Sid. Lovely to see you. You're just in time because we're just about to start. And this is on the back of what we discussed on Friday at Land Between the Lakes. Get the jam, Porky. Cooper, lie down and stop it. Now, what got me thinking about this was that last week there was another one of these cake. Hi, Green Eyes. You are just in time. I was telling everybody about my F up before, sending you a text message going, "Hope your mum gets there safely today." And I'm a week early. Oh, I'm glad you're all ready, Sid. Hope Nancy's sitting there with her feet up having a listen. So this week, yeah, it is the thought that counts, Green Eyes. Well, at least I've done it now. What's Porky Pot? Keep your fucking dog. My Green Eyes is here. Oh, whatever. Flipping heck. I don't want to keep the dog. He's pissing me off. Right, I'm stopping. I'm digressing. I'm getting back on the tail. Right, so a few days ago, there was a story released in the press. Now, this is quite weird. And this is what got me thinking, you know what, I'm going to look at more of these cases and put them together, because they all happened, you know, within a fairly short period of time. Now, this has happened in Loudoun County in Tennessee. So again, it's Tennessee, the same place where, you know, obviously not exactly the same place, but it's the same state as Land Between the Lakes, where these other attacks and things have happened. A woman was found dead in the road, and her own dog was standing over her body. It wouldn't let you know, when the police and the paramedics and what have you were called, it would not let anybody near her. Now, she was seen to have been pretty badly mauled, torn up. Her dog was like licking her. So obviously the dog's got blood around its muzzle and it's standing guard over her body. And in the end, one of the police officers shot the dog and killed it. So the presumption had been, so this was on 6:52 p.m. on the Wednesday evening. Now, I think it was last Wednesday. So looking at it, you think it's pretty straightforward. It's a case of, for some reason, her own dog has attacked and killed her. It's standing over her, and the police have had to shoot and kill it in order to get near her and see if, you know, life is extinct or if there's any possibility of saving her. And you think, yeah, you know, that's it. It sounds pretty plausible, until you then hear that there are witnesses who saw, prior to the police turning up, they'd seen her own dog running away. Now, by all accounts, I've seen two different accounts actually of this, that her own dog was a either a Malinois German Shepherd. It was either a Belgian or a German Shepherd, that type of dog, police dog, you know, a close protection dog. And it wasn't Sid, but have you seen that story about there's a woman who's been mauled to death by a pug? What the fuck? There's two actually. There's one where it says there was a woman mauled to death by a pug, and another one that was mauled to death by a French bulldog. I'm like, they weigh shit all. You know, you can pick one up and throw it. I mean, I know they're going to bite you and they can hurt you, but whatever. So anyway, yeah, there were the witnesses saying they actually saw her dog running away. Now, this is now, by all accounts, it was described as what sounds like a Malinois, which is a Belgian Shepherd. These are the ones that, like, the Spetsnaz use. You know, our armed forces use them as protection dogs, attack dogs. They're used in prisons and what have you. These dogs are the absolute mutt nuts, literally. That I know, Paula. Well, they can give you a good old suck, but no, I wouldn't think they could actually bite you. I mean, I like pugs. I think they're a bit cute, but I've read about a gal that got eaten by her pit bulls. Two of them, her dad found them still guarding a body. Poor girl, she was pretty young. Oh no. Well, you know what? I wouldn't say it was impossible, but it's this bit that they saw her dog was seen running away, right? And a large black or dark looking canine looking creature had been seen slinking around there, and then that was seen running away down. I think this is before they'd spotted her body, but this thing was seen running away from the direction her body was later found in. Then her dog was seen returning. Now, when I was looking at this, and I'm thinking, you know, it takes a lot to make a dog like that run away, because they have got nerves of steel. You know, they're absolutely fearless dogs. They really are fearless. I grew up around them. They are, you know. So what would take a dog like that, and plus it's a trained, by all accounts, her dog was a trained protection dog. What does it take for a trained protection dog to run away from the person it's supposed to be protecting? Okay. And is it outside the realms of possibility that once that large black canine type creature that was seen in the area and then seen running away from where her body had been found, is it outside the realms of possibility that once that had gone, whatever it was that had terrified her own dog enough for it to run away, that once it had gone, her own dog then returned to the scene, found its owner lying either dead or dying, tries to revive her by licking her, you know, nudging her, licking her like most dogs do. And then, because it is a trained protection dog, it is then protecting its vulnerable owner, who is either dead or dying, from people. You know, you imagine it's already in a heightened state of anxiety. Police turn up, paramedics, they're shouting, they're trying to get near. It's feeling threatened. It's feeling like its owner is threatened, and it's doing what it's been trained to do and stand guard. Or am I talking nuts? I just wanted to throw that one out there. And the other thing was as well that this story, actually, it wasn't last Wednesday. I think it was the Wednesday before, beginning of April. This story didn't break for, I think it was 10 days. Now, a lad that I watch on one of the channels on YouTube, he follows a lot of these strange animal attacks. And he was saying they always flag as a little bit sus with him when the details aren't released, or even the story doesn't hit the press for a week or longer. He said that's like something is being repressed until they've checked it all out, and then the only details that are released are the ones that the authorities want to be released. Thanks, Sid. Yeah, you see, that's just what I'm thinking. And the reason is because I'm going to, when I start explaining these other stories that I've got here, hopefully you'll see where I'm coming. Hang on. Stop. Lie down. Lie down. And there goes the dog. Stop it, Cooper. So it's logical to guard, but first rule of first aid is don't become a victim yourself. So to try to get to the human, the dog is expendable. Yeah, I fully understand that, Porky. But what I'm saying is that I'm just trying to look at it that, you know, they've obviously, yes, the dog, whatever had happened, but imagine that dog, it's not been, because they were treating that dog as though it was the culprit, as though that was the attacker. They still haven't confirmed if that's what happened or not. But I'm just thinking, you know, the fact that the story coming out was woman attacked and killed by her own dog, which came out, I think, 10 days. Cooper's cock of the coast shouted the odds. Just swapping over to my phone, bloody Wi-Fi. Oh, still having problems, green eyes. Yak. So it's just the fact that I'm thinking, you know, has this dog been wrongly blamed? Has this attack been attributed to him? Yes, Paula, they are. They are indeed. I much prefer animals to people. Always have done. I like some people, but not many. Pork chop is just a cock. Do you know Mrs. Emmy says that all the time? He'd be like, Cooper will just be being a complete knob. And he'll go, just because you can be a cock, it doesn't mean you have to. My dog's going to start coming to Bell End and cock and all the rest of it. Cooper, go and lie down, mate. Go on, you've been quiet until I pick my damn phone up. So that's what John called you, cock. Well, that's nice that Porky calls me a weirdo. I think he's being romantic. I go, love you, you fucking weirdo. I agree, Paula, but to get to the patient, they need to remove the threat to first responders. Well, yeah, but so taking that aside, Porky, what I'm saying is, do you think, like, you know, I've thrown it out there and Sid's commented on it, you know, and he kind of agrees as well. Is that outside the realms of possibility that that dog was guarding her from any further attacks after witnessing her being attacked? I mean, I suppose anything's possible because the actual attack wasn't witnessed by anybody. So what I'm going to do is go back and go over a few cases. And I'm only going to go back to, it could well do, thank you, Simples. They can only react to what is in front of them. But yeah, the dog could be guarding her, restrain the dog and tend to the patient. Yeah. Unless it's that monkey, because that was, I mean, that there was no choice with that, was it? Travis. Very possible because dogs are usually loyal. I think they shot the dog for that reason, Porky, not because they thought it was the attacker. Well, yeah, I'd like to think that's Sid, but that was the story that's coming out. Lady here lost both arms in a dog attack yesterday. Oh my God. What kind of dog was that, Green Eyes? Bloody hell. Well, that is actually smacking of one of the stories I've got here. I'll just wait to catch, you know, for anything else coming in chat before I start with this one. Dingo. Oh, Pitbull. They should have tranquilized the dog, but if that option isn't available. They probably didn't go along with tranquilizers, though, did they? You know, if they're just getting called to, you know, somebody's obviously seen a mauled, mangled body with a dog on top of it. They're probably not thinking of, you know, Travis, bless him, he was coming down off of Xanax. He regrets his ripping episode. Took a good lot to put him on his back in the end. It certainly did. It certainly did, Denny. But bloody hell, what happened? That was just awful, wasn't it? Said Pitbulls get a bad rep. Well, what my youngest brother said has got 2 Pitbulls. They're registered. They were 2 dogs that he saved. He has to have them muzzled at all times. You know, if they're in public or if they're guests at the house, the dogs have to have muzzles on them. The dog was castrated. The bitch was spayed. They both got tattoos. You know, he's fully compliant with them, but he saved these 2 dogs. Now, they were both ex-fighting dogs. The dog, the male, is as soft as your cap. The bitch, not so much. You know, yeah, as Paula said, it's never the dog, it's always the owner. Because of what's happened to these dogs in the past, and like, again, it is not their fault whatsoever, but the bitch is unpredictable. And I cannot now, when I go and visit my brother, and I'm always, oh, don't bother putting the muzzle on the dog, because he's soft. He really is. You can see he's just, you know, he would have just been killed. He wasn't a fighter. But the bitch, whatever's happened to her, she is, you can see it in her eyes, and I 100% do not trust her. And it's a shame, because, you know, the pit bulls were, they were exactly the same as staffies were looked on in this country. Staffies were known as the nanny dog. And in America, your pit bulls were, you know, they were just like the family dog. Yeah, Denny, there you go. I have a staffy. They still have a bad rep. I can see where it can occur because they have one hell of a jaw and neck on them, but they're nanny dogs at heart. Oh, Maggie's soft. She is. She is. And it's such a shame. But I mean, these 2 of our, you know, that my brother's got, the male is a big old unit. Keep her going, lie down. Anyway, so I'll crack on with the first of these stories and see what you think. So I'm jumping back to the 15th of February 2019, and this was a Friday. Now, at 5:45 a.m, there was a call to 911, and it turns out what had happened was a couple had called 911 because at 5:30 in the morning, their dogs had woken them, barking, going mad at something that was occurring out in the street. So they settled their own dogs because it was dark. It was February, so it was still dark at that time. You know, that, like, you're going to think, you know, are we getting burgled? What's going on? Is somebody in trouble out in the street? So they secure their own dogs and they go outside, and they find a shitload of blood in the road, and then they follow this blood. Oh, give me 1 second. Dog, stop. Oh no, I'm really sorry about this. Do you know, I'm gonna have to start putting him out. He's doing it again, and he's doing my head in. Stop it. He gets himself that worked up, and he gives himself indigestion, and then he gets heartburn, at like acid reflux. Right, so sorry, I'll go back to my tale. So they found a load of blood in the road. They follow the blood, it leads them to a ditch. In the ditch, they find this elderly lady. Now, she is 77-year-old Brenda Hamilton. She is submerged up to her shoulders in water in the ditch. And they say she is horrendously injured. So they back to their own house, and at 5:45 they call 911, and they're like, you need to get down here now. We found a lady, she's horrendously injured. When the EMS arrived, and they got her out of this ditch, they discovered that she'd suffered catastrophic injuries to both arms, both legs, and her scalp. Now, they then took her to the hospital, where she remained for 2 days, and then she died. So there was a big outcry, and this happened in North Carolina. So this caused a massive outcry in the community, because Brenda Hamilton had been a teacher for, I think, like 51 years. She was well known and well loved in the little town that she lived in. And people were, how the hell could this have happened? I mean, she used to walk every morning. It wasn't strange that she was out in the dark at 5:30 in the morning, because it was part of her exercise routine. Now, the coroner initially said that based on the amount of physical damage done to her, that it was probably multiple dogs that weighed 50 pounds or more each. Okay, that was initially what they'd said. So they were attributing it to a dog attack. The coroner then said it would have been multiple dogs just because of the damage. Now, when they took some DNA samples from Brenda's body, they couldn't find a clear match to any canines living in the area. So then people started saying that it was, packs of wild dogs and this, that, and the other. Eventually, they said that the DNA showed that it was canine in nature, but it wasn't any animal indigenous to that area. Now, make of that what you will. Incidentally, in a couple of days prior to this attack on Mrs. Hamilton, there had been reports of a big black dog-like animal that was seen in the local area, and I mean in close proximity to where she was killed. So the two things that I was picking up on with that again were the fact that it's canine in nature. Well, like we were saying the other day, you can tell with DNA testing now if it's canine or not. You can take your mongrel along and get it DNA tested, and they can tell you, Heinz 57 is no more a mystery. They can tell you every single breed of dog that makes up your little pooch. So why can they not say they know about, the canines indigenous to America? What have you got? You've got your coyotes, you've got wolves in certain areas, you've got foxes, and you've got domestic dogs. Is there anything I've missed off there? Because I don't think I have. But this is the fact that this DNA is canine in nature. Okay. And then we've got yet another sighting, like we had in the case from 2 weeks ago, of a large black animal, dog-like in appearance, seen in close proximity in the preceding days, in close proximity to the site of the individual's attack. So that's the first one. So that was 15th of February 2019. There have been other cases in between, but we're just going to cover these ones for now. These aren't the only ones, but these are the ones I could find out the most on. Denny and Green Eyes, yeah, Who can say? Who can say? So here we go. So let's jump forward 12 months then to the 8th of May 2020. Now this one's a real weird one. This really is weird. Dr. Nancy Shaw, age 62. Now, this is in Georgia. Cooper, stop. Oh boy. She is driving in her car in the early hours of the morning, and for some unknown reason, and a reason no one will ever know, is she pulled her car over and got out. Now, officers were driving down this quite deserted road at 3 a.m. and they saw a car on the wrong side of the road with the engine still running and the driver's door open. And this was Dr. Nancy Shaw's car. So they pulled over, they went to have a look, they found her, this is another one, found her dead in a ditch. The first thing that they said was that she may have been killed by wild dogs. May have been killed by wild dogs. Now, the autopsy on her confirmed that her death was as a result of an animal attack, but they couldn't decide what kind of an animal. But the coroner did say that they reckoned she had been killed by an unknown canine creature. And that got alarm bells ringing with me as well, because wouldn't you just say killed by a canine of some sort? Killed by a dog of some sort, possibly killed by a dog, a wolf, or a coyote, not an unknown canine creature. Now, I've not been able to find anything out about DNA tests, on either saliva, blood, whatever at the site of this one. But again, another one that I just found quite odd. And then I've got two more. And I'm going to do these two together because we're jumping for, and again, this is like another year. So we had Brenda Hamilton on the 15th of February 2019. Then we had Dr. Nancy Shaw on the 8th of May 2020. Now we're jumping forward to April 2021. And Tony Ahrens, Ahrens, age 52, of Cott County. And we're going to jump forward a little bit further to the 12th of July. Same place again, Cott County, and a 29-year-old lady called Amber Miller. Now, both of these with an E on the end, Green Eyes, but yes, Cott County. So that's COCKE. Well, Denny, doesn't it? Especially after our little our thumbnail for Sunday's Live. Please, sir, can I have a crumb of dick? You're going to move there, Green Eyes. Well, I think it was like when we went to York and they were showing us the Grape Lane, which was actually Grope Lane, and it was previously, if you all remember, we were doing the funny names, it was Grope Cunt Lane. So I think there's a lot of men would like to go and live there. He has gone quiet, but I think he's around because the dog is running around like a maniac, which he normally does when Pork is about to show his face. A crumb of ye oldie. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear Porky, but Green Eyes says you've gone very quiet. Cooper, where is he? Go get him. Right, I'm trying to ignore the dog. Okie dokie. So we've got Tony Ahrens on the 1st of April and Amber Miller on the 12th of July. These are both in 2021. Profiler would be able to identify DNA of wolves, etc. That's it, simple as they would. They can identify wolf, coyote, dog. Why are they having such difficulty saying it's canine origin or canine in nature? It's just very, very strange to me. So anyway, Cott County, a road called Jimtown Road. So the first person, Tony Ahrens, 52 years old, was found on Jimtown Road in Cott County on the 1st of April 2021, dead, killed by animals of some sort. Now, it's never been released what type of an animal killed him. Just that he was pretty badly torn up. Now, Amber, she was found staggering, or somebody saw her staggering to a house. This was on the 12th of July, like begging for help, where she collapsed. Now, she had, this is similar to, sorry, this is a bit gory, but it's similar to what Green Eyes has just said. She had one calf was ripped off her leg. It had been torn off. Both her arms were barely attached to her body. And also, it's never been released what kind of animal attacked her either. But in all of these places, there is woodland, there is or are watercourses, there are cemeteries not too far away, and that's significant because the people who look into cases of dogmen, sightings and attacks, they're always, those three things are always there. You know, wherever these sightings or attacks or what have you occur with dogmen, there are always woodland, watercourse, graveyard or burial ground of some sort. And it's been exactly the same with all of these. Now, I don't know about this last one because I don't have her name yet. This lady who was attacked, you know, within the last, don't know, Green Eyes. I don't know. Now, some people have suggested that, I always say people, some researchers have suggested that the kind of Watchers of the Dead. I don't know why, but it could be, you know, like Cerberus. Well, I don't know, Green Eyes. They could live underground. Maybe they like being around corpses. You know, you've got Anubis, you've got Cerberus, you have got, you know, well, over here, you've got like that, with what we talk about, the hellhounds, all of these, the shuck, black shuck, things like that. They're all dogs or dog-like creatures that are associated with or are drawn to the dead. I really don't know. I don't know enough about them. These are all the things that fascinate me. You know, that there are so many researchers who know tons and tons and tons about these things. But yeah, so this is why it's kind of prompted, or it's piqued my interest a little bit. Now, let me just, because I did quite a lot of these I was making quite a lot of these notes. So, just in context, I found some of these figures out here. And it's combined the USA and Canada. Okay, so we're running from September 1982. I'm like my daughter. Hiya, Frida. Oh, don't apologise, sweetheart. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to see you. Try not to be late on Sunday though, if you can make it. We're going to have a bit of a giddy one. Denny's coming up on panel. It's going to be incognito. It's just going to be a bit of raucous laughter. Anybody who wants to come up and join us on panel is welcome to. No holds barred. Talk about what we like and just have a giggle. And I've only been going an hour only. So it's not too much of this one for you to catch up on, Frida. No simples, although I don't know if you've seen the thumbnail I've put up. It's that it's a fox, you know, acting like a beggar with a tin cup out, and it says, "Can I have a crumb of dick?" And basically it was a snoot in the nose to all the thirsty bitches. So if you've got if there's a particular thirsty bitch on YouTube that you want to take the mickey out of, feel free. But anything and anything and anybody is fair game on Sunday. I had a name for myself and I thought I can't even, because not only would probably I lose half of my you'll have a skeg, yeah. You know, I don't have a lot of followers anyway on here. All the ones I have, I would really love to keep hold of you all, but I think if I picked the name I thought of before, I'd lose at least half of you. So it's totally not politically correct. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to come as yet. Yeah, Frida. Well, I think it should be, shouldn't it? Thirsty bitches. A thirsty bitch, Sid, is, well, you can be thirsty in a lot of different ways. Thirsty for attention, you know, like an attention whore, or if someone's after the men, you know. Like if you lot didn't know I was with Porky, you know, or when you didn't know I was with Porky, you might have all thought, God, she's a right thirsty bitch. Because I was like chatting to him and giggling with him all the time. That can come across as thirsty. So it's like, no, not necessarily needy, just a bit, just thirsty. I can't even think of it another way to describe it. You could be thirsty for money as well. I tend to look at it thirsty. If I'm calling someone a thirsty bitch, it's kind of thirsty for attention or thirsty like a scrubber. And I'll slap her. Yeah, that's another one. The women that quite obviously cream up in the presence of any and all male presences, they can't hide their simp. It's been that long, I'm pissing dehydrated. Mrs. Mercury. But oh, you got it right, Sid. But it doesn't have to be like that. It can just be attention, you know. You know, like when Bam's been on a chat and she's talking about the people coming in wanting the attention. Yeah, they're thirsty. Desperate. Thank you, Frida. I couldn't think of a proper way to put it. Desperate for attention and whatever. I mean, I'm thirsty for a lottery win. So yeah, so no holds barred. Anything and everything. We can discuss it. Anyone can come up on the channel. It's all the peanuts they eat. Oh God, you know that's one thing I don't like. Simples, peanuts. So yeah, so I just think rather than a theme as such, you can be whatever you like, but I might go thirsty. So what do you guys think of those? So while we had a little, oh God, I'm asking you what you think, and I've not given you my details. Right, these were some of the figures that I got. So I did a little look, trying to do a search on, because obviously you can find things out in America or so much easier than we can over here. You know, you type somebody's name and you come up with like their inside leg measurement in America, and so they have got an awful lot of where you think there wouldn't be things that there would be statistics on. You actually get really, you know, surprisingly there are. So I just did a little search to see about dog attacks or canine attacks on people in America, and we've narrowed it down. So going from Friday, when that you know, the case in Land Between the Lakes is 1982. So done a search. So from September 1982 until December the 31st, 2021. So, you know, this is only 4 months ago, not quite 4 months ago, 3.5 months. And this was by breed. And obviously we're trying to look at things that aren't an identifiable breed of dog, just to see if there are any anomalies being thrown up. So there were 600, and so between 1982 September and December 2021, there were 652 canine attacks by an unidentified breed. Okay. There were 197 of those attacks were on children. 272 of them were on adults. And out of those, there were 39 fatalities. Now, there were also the wolf-like or wolf hybrid. There were 103 attacks in that 40-year period. And out of that, there were 20 fatalities. So I was like, okay, so if we add, you know, we'll add those up together. So you've got 50. Let's round it up. Let's call it 60, because there are some, you know, there's some other ones. So let's say 60. So in that 40-year period, there are 60 attacks that can't be attributed to a specific breed of dog. You know, and these are ones that are falling into, you know, these attacks that we've just been discussing, they're falling into the realms of attack by a dog that has been unidentified. So is it a dog? Maybe. What's that? What's flacker? People get a bit bitey on that stuff. Then again, canine teeth and human teeth are obviously different. I don't know what flacker is, or am I being really dumb? Is it a drug or something that? So yeah, so if we go a synthetic drug widely available. Oh, right, okay. Well, the thing is, Sid, the ones that we're going through now, none of them have been able to describe. They weren't in a, they were either dead or were on the verge of death. So there haven't been any. The lady who was found, the one that happened, you know, within the last 2 weeks, she was already dead when the police arrived on scene. Brenda Hamilton was, well, she was in a terrible state. She wasn't able to speak at all, and she died 2 days after being found. Then the Tony Ahrens and Amber Miller. Tony Ahrens was dead. Amber Miller was just begging for help, but basically she was in massive shock. Her arms were hanging off. She was in a horrendous state, so nothing could be got out of her. And then Nancy Shaw, Dr. Nancy Shaw, she was dead when she was found. So other than people, and none of these attacks are witnessed, you know, which is, and what I found very strange was that nobody's heard, you know, people are around, nobody's either nobody's heard the screaming, or they've not been able to scream or shout for help. You know, these attacks, it's as though these attacks have happened so quickly that they've not even had chance to cry out. As I said, apart from Amber Miller, but you know, how the hell did she get away? And she wasn't able to explain it. It's, I mean, hopefully you can see why I have been quite fascinated with this. You know, why it's raising a few questions for me. Or is it just me? I mean, is this something that I'm kind of reading too much into? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll stop talking for a second and let that one sink in. See what you come back with. Well, she must have seen it, but she wasn't able to say what it was. Green eyes. And then the other thing was that they were then trying to, suspicious sounds like some intelligence is involved, like wait until the coast is clear before attacking. Yeah. And the fact as well that these stories are delayed before that. No, the delays that occur before these stories, you know, details are released. And to me, if there is a pack of wild dogs, if there are, you know, there is a particular dangerous canine running loose that has attacked somebody and killed somebody, would you not think that the local police are out putting out flyers advising the local schools, you know, going out with walkie-talkies, increasing patrols at night and putting it onto all the local news stations, telling people do not go outside in the dark on your own, unarmed? Nothing's being said for a week to 2 weeks following these attacks. It's like things are being, you know, let's just check, let's make sure things, or could they be removing whatever it is from that area prior to releasing details of the stories? There's plenty of food for thought in all these, especially when they won't release specific details. You never know what exotic pets people have kept across the years if they've escaped or crossbred. Yes, yeah. There was a case, it's not one of these ones that I've covered, Denny, but there was a case where I think it was a little boy, a young boy, and again, he was killed by something. And when they did the DNA, they found the mitochondrial DNA was canine. So but the thing itself wasn't. So they knew that its mother was a domestic dog. But then they didn't identify what its father was. So, you know, God only knows what's out there. Yeah, I mean, it could be people, you know, like you say, exotic pets. People could be I mean, I don't think you'd be able to crossbreed a hyena with a dog, but you know, it's things like that. Oh, say hello to little lovely Raven for us, please, Green Eyes. I need to message her myself. We loves you, Raven. Ooh. So I'm just going to see if I can open this. Now, what they tried to do was with Tony Aaron and Amber Miller. Now, they said that Tony Aaron had meth in his system. I don't know what significance that would have had to anything. They also tried to blame a local man for both of those deaths because they happened in close proximity to each other. Now, I'm just going to try and find. Right, so I've just found some details on her. So apparently, Amber Miller, so she underwent several surgeries. So she'd been found and was taken to hospital. I thought they'd actually phoned an ambulance for her or something. She wasn't. The guy who'd found her took her to hospital in his truck. She underwent several surgeries. According to this guy here, saying they weren't just minor bites. She got sepsis. Her arm got taken off. We figured she might lose an arm, but not her life. The next day, she died. She was found up against a tree in a yard where some of the neighbours reckoned that the attack happened. And this Miller guy says, she was over there sitting in that yard in front of the tree. Her arm was tore up to the bone and her legs were the same way. That poor girl, I've never seen nothing like that before. I've seen a guy get his throat cut before, but after I seen that, nothing like that. And this is where it gets interesting. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation confirmed it was helping with this latest investigation. Far be it from me, but Tennessee Bureau of Investigation for a dog attack? Really? Anyway, moving swiftly on. Right. Now, I'm just going to, so this was the Cott County Sheriff's Office. This was their press release. The Cott County Sheriff's Office, and as a request of our agency, the TBI has been requested to assist our agency only, and we are currently investigating an assault that occurred near Jimtown Road on July the 12th, 2021. A similar incident occurred on the same road on April the 1st, 2021, that resulted in the death of Tony Ahrens. Due to this being an active investigation, other names and specific details are not being released. Officers are working diligently, collecting evidence and statements. If anyone has information that will assist, please contact the Cott County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division at blah, blah, blah. You can remain anonymous. Okie dokie. Right. Let's have a little look at that. So, investigating an assault. Would you not describe? I don't understand why you would describe an animal attack as an assault. Anybody have any suggestions on that one? While you're thinking about that, I mean, if anybody in America is listening in, I don't know if you can shed a bit of light, but is it usual for the local, whichever state's Bureau of Investigation, is it normal for them to be involved in a suspected dog attack? I'm just wondering what the circumstances would be where a local sheriff's or police department would call in the TBI to assist them in what they are downplaying as an animal attack or a dog attack, to be more specific. And just why it is being called, they're investigating an assault. And then a similar incident occurred and another assault. It's not an assault, is it? Oh, and then here, this is quite telling as well. This is another press release from Cock County Sheriff's Office, okay? Considering the amount of false and misleading information of the animal attacks, they're animal attacks now, they're not assaults, we ask that the public just listen to what law enforcement releases to the public. Individuals are making assumptions and non-facts of this investigation and will not provide accurate information. The investigation on both attacks is under a strong investigation and long hours are worked each day. The more we put out to the public could devastate the case. Right, fair enough. We will release as much as we can when feasible, but we will not release anything that could jeopardise this case. The first case is not closed and was under an investigation and still ongoing. Okay. Consider yourselves told. Hi, Danny. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, as always. Just going to go back and read through the chat because I had missed it. So you've never heard of anyone getting sepsis from a dog bite? Sounds like them Komodo dragons. But obviously they're not canine. Greenhouse said you can get horrendous infection from dog bites, worse than the bites sometimes. Oh, right, okay. I've seen some bad dog bites, but if these people have been mauled that bad, I would imagine there would be massive infection. Yeah, my hubby has had to get a tetanus after a dog bite. I had to get a tetanus after a dog bite as well. I know the bites can turn septic, but I don't think that's the same thing, is it? It's the same thing, except it goes systemic and can cause organ failure. Maybe TBI are involved as dogs have owners and need to be traced. Do you know what? Simples, I really don't know. I think this would be a question. Maybe Danny could answer this one for us as the representative for the United States of America. You're like the president, but on YouTube. could we possibly throw a little question at you? And it's fine if you don't know the answer, but we obviously in the UK haven't got a damn clue. So we're discussing the strange animal attacks that were put down to dog attacks. And the fact that this particular sheriff's office, they initially, in the press release, they described these attacks. There were 4 months apart, as assaults, and that, because these are in Tennessee, that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation were involved. Now, I obviously, with my limited knowledge of, your law enforcement, I was just thinking that, isn't it unusual that the TBI would become involved in what was later put out to be a attack by a canine, a dog? I mean, it's like when, David Paulides will say that the FBI turn up and, at missing people's, when these adults have gone missing in the national parks, but he'll say, they don't normally deal with missing people. They'll deal with missing children, but not with missing people who've literally gone missing within a matter of hours. So I'm just wondering if it's a similar thing with this, or would whichever local Bureau of Investigation usually get involved in a dog attack? Sorry for putting you on the spot, Danny. My son was out running, ran round a corner accidentally into a lady with an Alsatian. The dog sank its teeth into my son's arm. Wasn't the dog's fault. He had to have a tetanus too. Ooh. So that's where I am with that one. Now, I'll see if I can find the details on, just so you can see what they put out about Tony Aarons. And I thought, although they weren't discrediting him, it was as though they were trying to discredit him, so that it just didn't seem as important. It was just the impression I got. I'm just gonna, I'll read you what they put about Tony. Now, his were even, I thought his were quite worse, because, just as a little overview, the autopsy on Tony revealed multiple animal-induced injuries, including punctures, lacerations, contusions, and torn veins. But the medical examiner ruled his death as an accident. Now, in his autopsy, it said whether this was one animal or more than one animal and what type of animal is unknown. The autopsy disclosed that paw marks and blood were found on the ground near his body, and it revealed that Aarons tested positive for methamphetamine. According to the medical examiner, blood levels of 200 to 600 is that mLs, I think it is, of methamphetamine are typically reported in those who abuse the drug and exhibit violent and irrational behaviour. Test results show, and he was like twice that of methamphetamine in his system at the time of his death. He was the first of 2 people to die along Jimtown Road in Cott County, prompting authorities to warn travellers to use caution in the area as the investigation continued. Now, Cott County Sheriff's Office have said it needs forensic evidence like autopsy findings to determine if animals were responsible in either of these cases, and if so, what type of animals. And so far, authorities have not said what type of animals they believe were involved. So, let's see what you've put. Bits of rabid foxes, green eyes, awful like a zombie disease. Oh, they have those zombie deer as well, don't they? I think I've scared Danny away asking her questions. It's okay, you can come back, Danny. You don't have to know the answer. But anybody in the States, anybody who may know the answer to that question, if you could let us know, I'd be very, very grateful. I actually gave Dennis still cures for rabies. Used to get loads of people who visit the monkey parks in Bali got scratched and have to go through full rabies vaccines. Oh, do you know there was there was a program on it. Well, not a program. It was kind of a dramatization about rabies coming to the UK. Oh, sorry, no, ignore me then, Danny. Sorry, lovey, I didn't know that you were traveling. It was just a throwaway one. No problem. It just ignore and carry on listening. Thank you, sweetie. I mean, I remember my dad saying the worst thing ever was that Channel Tunnel from France. You know, he was like, it's not just opening it up for, you know, he said, this has been an island forever, you know, and we can defend ourselves, and he said once that bloody tunnel's open, he was all for putting somebody bombing it and bricking it up. And then he was like, and then there'll be rabies coming through on it, and da-di-da-di-da. I mean, I know you can't stop bats flying over because bats carry it, don't they? But I mean, there've been quite a few well-documented cases of people smuggling animals through that they shouldn't have. And Thingy did it as well, didn't they? Green Eyes, wasn't that in Australia? Johnny Depp and that slapper he was married to, that Amber Heard. Didn't they smuggle their dogs in without having the rabies clearance? £2,000 a shot, bloody hell. Rabies is so serious, we've had to move people to different countries to get rabies vaccine. Bloody hell. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was into Australia. And the thing is, and it's quite sad that, because I do like Johnny Depp, but that I just thought that pissed me off. You know, I mean, like New Zealand and Australia, you're so strict about what comes in, you know, because and it isn't just for the people, it's the ecosystem as well, isn't it? You don't want certain bugs and plant diseases and all sorts of shit coming in. Anyway, well, I don't know what you want to do, because I do have another little story that I can tell you. Although it's not about an animal attack, but it's a weird disappearance. If you want to, or we can carry on talking about these, or just general chit chat, or shit chat, whichever. £4,000. Oh my goodness. Oh, you want the story, Sid? Okie doke. Yeah, they're very hard on smuggling stuff in, even wooden things that may have bugs in. And obviously, when I'm saying story, this is actually true. Are there many people nowadays who get rabies? Well, isn't the treat? I mean, I don't know if they still do it now, Green Eyes, but weren't they? From what I can remember hearing, was that rabies? Didn't they? They were very painful injections. Didn't they have to be given directly into the stomach at one point? I don't know if that is still the case now for people. I'm not talking about animals, but I saw there was a program on. Oh gosh, I think I'm going to say Channel 5. I'm not sure. I'm going to say Channel 5. And that was about people in India with rabies. Oh, God. They're batshit crazy, aren't they? And they've got them tied into the beds and they're going bananas. And yeah, and the thing is, Sid, have you always seen who it is? And I have nothing against these people because I love Chinese people. I think they're brilliant. But it's always the Chinese who are trying to smuggle shit into into and out of countries, isn't it? Australia border control take no shiz, but you can't disagree. Some of the bits people try to take, incredible. Yeah, first one given usually in bite. Yeah, dirty bastards with dried fish and meat can read no English. And then over here, it's people coming from either Africa or the Caribbean bringing shit in for some reason. You're like cooking up. I watched one and it was on Heathrow and I had to laugh. It was some like a Jamaican mother had come over, or Jamaica or Barbados or something. She was from the Caribbean, coming over to visit her son, and she's chatting. And I love that accent. She's chatting away to customs, and she's like, you know, my son, and he's over here, he's at university in London, and he won't be feeding himself. I've fetched him some food. She'd obviously been cooking up a storm back home, and it's all shit she couldn't bring in. And they were like, "Nah, you can't give him that, and nah, you can't give him that," because she'd cooked like mince and things. Like, "Nah, you can't give him that," and they had to ditch it all. She was fucking gutted. 55,000 die each year from rabies. Shit, is that worldwide, Green Eyes? I'll tell you what got me. The bloody, you know, everybody's saying that the bubonic plague, the Black Death, is no more, and yet it's running rampant in Mongolia. They started to block off from Russia. They were blocking off the borders. This is before all of this shit going on, and they reckoned it was because they were eating marmots, that like a little rodent of sorts that live on the steppes in Mongolia. So a lot of herdsmen were catching these little critters and eating them, and they were riddled with bubonic plague, which I didn't think you could catch from ingesting the animal. We went to the very first time I went to Greece with my friends, Green Eyes. We went to Corfu, typical girly holiday. Went for a fortnight, and our um our little apartment thing was it's in the middle of nowhere really. We had quite a long walk down a bit of a country road. There were the odd dotted house here or there, but it was quite deserted till we got down into the town. And obviously we'd sleep off the night before, and then early afternoon we'd get our bikinis and what have you on and our shorts, and we'd drag our asses down towards the town, go to a taverna, hit the alcohol, grab something to eat and get sunbathing. And we were going down the road this particular day, and it was probably about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there were armed Greek soldiers, armed Greek police officers, and they're shouting at us, go back, go back, go back, go back. We were like, shit, what's going on? Because, Greece being Greece, then it wasn't like it is, now with a lot of people who we don't know where they're coming from and have got some terrorism issues. But anyway, we'll leave that one there. But they're shouting at us, get back, go back, and all this lot. And there was a dog with rabies, and the police had to shoot it. Oh God, and it scared the shit out of me. Didn't come anywhere near us. We saw it. It was kind of staggering round. Oh, I love Corfu, Frida. It was staggering round, but they had to shoot it. But it was giving me nightmares because obviously we'd come walking up that road on our own at night. If you lose your mates down the town, we were like, fuck it, go home, because you were dead safe. Unless that was just the naivety of an 18-year-old girl on a first holiday without parents. But, we never had any trouble. That was in Kandakali, that Frida, and then the next one we went to Marmaris, and then we've done Kavos, Benitsis, Sidarian Rhoda at the top. Love Corfu. I think it's such a lovely place. Anyway, I better crack on with this story, hadn't I? Keep you all entertained. Right. Oh no, Greece is amazing. And Rhodes. We used to go and stay in Lindos. Rhodes, and then yeah. And Crete, and where was the other one I went to? Santorini as well. Said across the border between Iraq and Jordan, and there used to be a refugee camp in no man's land. After they removed them, there were literally hundreds of dogs roaming in packs. I can imagine. Oh, Frida, you like the same places as me. It's beautiful. Santorini is just out of this world, though. I love Santorini. Such a beautiful place. Now, I've got to ask, Sid, why were you crossing the border between Iraq and Jordan? Were you in the forces by any chance? I was just about to say, Green Eyes, I have been to Jordan and I went to Petra, and we rode horses down the crescent. Lindos, the sunburnt arms. Lindos is, I've never been there any time other than it being bloody baking. I mean, I quite liked, I'll admit it, I went to Turkey. I only went once. Turkey itself, I liked. The place, I liked. I'll not say any more, but I won't ever go back. Whether it was because I was blonde, I don't know, but I won't ever go back. Oh, I've never been to Malta, and Malta is where my well, he's dead now. My sister's her two eldest, and their dad. He was his family were all Spanish, and they came from Malta. I always look at the photographs; it's lovely, and the whole family, the beautiful. Oh, you installed a new studio in Baghdad, probably one of the few civilians with the Iraqi stamp in your passport. Was that after the war, Sid? Oh, no. Sorry, Frida, I was talking about Petra. We went on the horses. You said you climbed up, you didn't use the weed dog. Oh, was that up to the Acropolis in Rhodes? During bloody hell. Was that in the second Gulf? Because my brothers were both over there. Um, my eldest brother was based at Basra Palace. They had that as the HQ, and he was stationed there. That was Optelic 6. He was in part of a CIMIC operation. Oh, Sid, yes, please. Oh, I'd love you to come up and tell us that sometime, because your story might dovetail in with some of the stuff my brother told me, what they were going on, and a few of you will have heard some of the stuff I've said. But yeah, he was there 2000 and, hang on, I'll get the dates. I think it was 2005, 2006. All I know it was Optelic 6 was on at the time, and that's when he was there. Okie dokie. I'm going to jump back in time now. We're going to jump back to 2002. And the reason that I'm talking about this one is because of what we've just been talking about, the things that I think may possibly be responsible. Yes, Denny, and we did it quite a few years ago. It was, yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Well, they have got the place in Turkey, and I can't remember the name of it. We went out on a boat trip in Turkey where they filmed the African Queen, and you go past it, and it's just like Petra. It's this carved temple up in the side of it's like in a mountain face basically, and then you go along and you go to the volcanic pool, and you cover yourself in the volcanic mud and what have you. It's very similar to that, but I can't remember the damn name of it there. But yeah, Petra was amazing. I'll obviously never do it again, but it was absolutely, you can't believe how amazing it is. It's beautiful. Blogged it live. I could send you the blog transcript. You can read it out. Oh yes, Sid, I could do that but you're very welcome to come up. But I know being live isn't everybody's cup of tea. Have a think about it. If you want to come up and tell us, you can do. But if you want me to read it, I can read it out. It's not a problem. You're not sad, green eyes. I still like watching them as well. I'll even start humming the theme tune in a minute. Right. I'm going to crack on with this little story because I keep getting sidetracked and I will forget where I'm up to and then forget I promised to read you another one. So, this story, yeah, brilliant, Sid. You have a think, no pressure, whatever you want to do. I'm happy reading it out and you're always welcome to come up. So this case, it's baffled a lot of people for 20 years now. Oh, before I carry on, yeah, what are those mud baths called, Frida? Because I can't remember him. Because we went out to Turtle Beach. That was part of the trip. We went on a boat, and then we went to Turtle Beach, and then we did this boat, and it went down where these reeds were, where the African Queen was filmed with Humphrey Bogart, which I didn't realise. I thought that was filmed in Africa, but no, it was filmed in Turkey. And they gave us the names. Oh yeah, I've been to Ephesus as well. I actually got the shits in Ephesus. That's a story for another time. In fact, I'll tell you that on Sunday when Denny's up on panel. and I'll tell you about my story at Ephesus and Pamukkale. Because we're just going to be going for shits and giggles on Sunday, so that fits in quite well. Well, if you remember what it was called, the mud baths and the tombs up in the rock face, please put it in chat, because I just can't remember. Okay, so 2002, 20 years ago. And this story is about a young fella called Christopher Tompkins. And this happened in Georgia. Oh, something's happened there. I've just got a message has come up on my screen saying unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. Has anybody else got that? Although I won't be able to tell, will I? How's everybody diddly doing? Can you all hear me? I don't know what's going on. Right. Hopefully I've come back okay, and you can all. I had to try and refresh things because I just couldn't see chat at all. Oh yeah, we're back. Sorry about that, peeps. Went to Turtle Beach too, but can't remember seeing any turtles. Can't remember the name. Kiss. Yeah, I didn't see any turtles either, but it was really great for like body surfing. Do you know what? I don't remember the mud stinking, Denny. Oh, it'll time itself. Oh, thanks, Denny. Yeah, I'm back. Dalian, thank you, Sid. There you go, Dalian. 25 years ago, and you could still go on them. It's like Ayers Rock, just a special place. Yeah, I climbed up Ayers Rock. Do you know, Frida, I don't remember it smelling like rotten eggs. I honest to God, cannot remember it smelling. I wondered, because it did that, whether somebody doesn't want me to tell this story, some higher being doesn't want me to tell you the story of Christopher Tompkins. Ooh, you never know. So, the reason this particular story, this case, is baffling people for 20 years because of the questions that it raises. Okay. Now, we're going to go back to the 25th of January, 2002. And this young lad, Christopher, he was 20 years old, and he headed off to his work at 8 o'clock in the morning. He lived at home with his mum, and he headed off to work about 8 in the morning. Now, he had a job as a surveyor. So he drove to his workplace. He parked his car up at the office. He then travelled to the site where they were working with the co-worker, and the site was at Ellerslie, which is part of Harris County in Georgia. Now, hi, Julia. Hello, love. Don't you worry, darling. I'll leave them up so you can have a little listen if you get a chance, or if you want to. Been talking about some mysterious deaths, and I've just started telling this story about Christopher. So Christopher was part of a 4-man team, and they were working on County Line Road, and they were actually working in a line formation, Christopher being at the end of the line. Now, each surveyor was approximately 50 feet away from the next man in the line, and they worked through the morning, cracked on, all 4 of them working 50 feet apart from each other. They then took a break for lunch, had a bit of a rest, ate the lunch, then they returned to work. Now, one of his co-workers was having a conversation with Christopher as they were working. Now, at one point, his co-worker happened to look away from Christopher while he completed a task. And around a minute later, he shouted something to Chris, but he didn't reply. So he looked to where Christopher should be, and there was no sign of him. Now, initially, he thought that Chris had needed to answer a call of nature, if you get my drift, and had just stepped behind a tree to relieve himself. So he called out to him several times, got no reply. So he then shouted to the other guys there, and, he just said, something's not right here. Come on down. So all of them walked down to where Christopher had been working. Oh, have you heard it, Green Eyes? It's freaky, isn't it? They went down to where he'd been working, and there was absolutely no sign of him. But one of his work boots was hanging from the top of a nearby barbed wire fence. And all of his work tools were lying on the ground, but there was no sign of Christopher at all. So they decided to call 911 and report him missing. But as you are all probably aware, because he was an adult and because it had only just happened, the police had to advise them that they couldn't investigate. Oh, sorry, was that a bit muffled? Then I realised that my phone had just slid under the covers on the sofa. I'll just repeat that just in case, because I know there is a little bit of a delay as well. The police advised them that they couldn't investigate until at least 24 hours had passed. Okay. Now. Oh, thanks, Green Eyes. Thumbs up, but it doesn't matter if not. I don't mind. Okay, so at round about 4:15 that day, so this has happened at lunchtime-ish, 4:15, his mother was notified that he was missing. And, and rightly so, she wanted to know why the hell it had taken so long for someone to let her know what was going on. Oh, did you slapped it, did you, Sid? None of that now, none of that. You're getting a bit slappy happy. Right. Oh, give me a second. I've just messed all my notes up. Oh, what the hell? Right. Give me 1 second because I've just... Now, this is the one thing that I think is quite naughty, because before I carry on with the rest of this, because the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, because they've got Christopher Tompkins as as a missing person. Now, they said that he was last seen on Friday, the 25th of January 2002 at approximately 1:30 p.m. walking away from a survey job site in a wooded area near Georgia Highway 85 in Harris County, Ellerslie, Georgia. At the time, he was wearing a pair of navy blue pants, a plaid jacket with a grey hood, and a black skull cap. Tompkins has a tattoo on his right arm consisting of his name in vertical letters, written inside an ice cream cone. The ice cream part is the head of a joker wearing a hat. Right. Now, they said he was last seen walking away. His workmates never said they saw him walk away. Nobody else was there. Nobody saw Christopher walk away anywhere. Okay. Right, I shall just carry on with this little bit. So, oh man, I'm so sorry. I do not know what I'm doing with these flipping notes. Just felt like slapping, but you stroked it gently after. Okay. Now, when the police the next day went out to investigate, they then found under so you've got the boot that is hanging on the barbed wire fence. There were some coins which were like more or less directly underneath this boot, and a little piece on the barbed wire, a little piece of his blue trousers, the material of his blue trousers. So it's like he's kind of gone over, but the fact that the coins were on the floor was as though he'd maybe been upside down. Maybe. I think there was 12 cents that were on the floor. So after this had happened, the co-workers all got questioned. Now, the police publicly stated that they thought or they believed that Christopher had just walked off, which kind of, that to me says exactly where the Georgia Bureau of Investigations last sighting of him walking away from the site has come from, because it didn't come from his co-workers. Now, one co-worker obtained an attorney a week after he'd gone missing, although no one was sure why. Well, I'll tell you why, I think, because it turned out that I think two of the three had criminal records, and in the cases of crimes, suspected crimes, murders, robberies, yada yada yada, you know who the police are going to look at first, even if you've had nothing to do with it. The first person that is going to be looked at is going to be the person with the criminal record. So I think that is why that guy retained a lawyer, because if he was going to get dragged in questioning, he wanted to make sure that, he wasn't getting blamed for something that he hadn't done. That's my opinion. Okay. Now, Christopher's mother believes that the co-workers knew more than they were saying, and she believes Christopher isn't alive anymore and that he was the victim of some foul play. Now, I am not sure about the co-workers knowing more than they've let on. If they do, I think it's because it's for a reason and it's not probably what you think. So we'll just carry on a little way with this. So 5 months. Oh, I'm still listening and in delicious bed. In case I drift off, I'll say night now. Thanks, Kiss. We're thrilled to see you all. Take care. Looking forward to Sunday shiz and giggles. Oh, Denny, thank you so much, darling. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's be very silly. So please don't anybody expect to come in on Sunday and have sensible conversations because it ain't happening. Okay? Oh, no, no, Denny sleep well, lovely. Well, this hasn't got a lot further to go, Denny, so you might catch the end of it. You're in bed with your sheep, simple. Stop saying that, love. I know who your sheep is. However, there's some people who don't. Okay? Just saying, not judging. So 5 months after he disappeared, a local farmer's walking on his own property and he finds a boot in the swampland at the edge of his land. Now, this particular boot would later be identified as belonging to Christopher Tompkins. And it was also less than a mile from the spot where he disappeared. So let's have a little look at some of the theories about Christopher and what went on that day. So let's look at what the Georgia Bureau of Investigations have said, okay? That he was last seen walking off at 1:30 in the afternoon, and the police, he walked away. Right, if that's the case, he did it without his boots on, didn't he? Because one of his boots was found where he had last been seen, hanging on the barbed wire fence. The other was found nearly a mile away in some swampland. So he weren't getting very far without his boots, was he? That's just my thought. If anybody else has got another thought on that, that's absolutely fine. Please stick it in the chat. Then one of the other theories or questions is Christopher's co-workers did something to him or know something and are covering it up. Right. If I address that one, did they do something to him? They could have. They could have. I don't know, so I can't say they didn't. Do they know something and covering it up? Does anybody remember the story of Travis Walton? Before I carry on, I'm not saying this happened to Christopher, what happened to Travis, but I'm just saying I'm using that as a comparison, as in, look what happened to the workmates of Travis Walton when they reported him missing and told exactly what had happened and exactly what they had witnessed. Oh, Green Eyes, Travis Walton. We need to cover him then one night. Travis Walton is still alive, this guy. He is one of the best cases of alien abduction ever. There's been a film made about it. I think it's called Fire in the Sky. I'm sure it's called Fire in the Sky. I'll check it out later on before I log off, before we close this one down, and I'll let you all know. But I'm sure that's what it's called. It happened in, I think it was the 1970s, I think. But his work colleagues, they witnessed exactly what happened to him. He was taken. They were up logging in the middle of nowhere, and they were ridiculed. They were accused of murdering him. They were, and they took lie detector tests and passed them all. maybe Frida, but it was when I heard about this, the first thing I thought about was Travis Walton. And knowing, and obviously it was such a big case in America, near enough everybody over there knows who Travis Walton is. And I'm thinking that if they did witness something, if it was something along the lines of, not good with names, but remember stories when I hear them. You probably will about Travis Walton. He's the guy who was missing for a few days and then he turned up again. He didn't realise he'd been gone that long. He didn't know where he'd been. And then he started remembering actually being on this alien spaceship or craft. And they were experimenting on people. There were other people there. But his work colleagues they explained what they'd seen, they explained what had happened, and everybody and plus one of them as well was like one of these guys. He had a criminal record. Straight away the sheriff was focusing on this fella. You know, I bet he's murdered him, I bet he's done something to him, I bet this, I bet that, I bet the other. Instead of just being objective and listening to what they had to say, these guys were ostracized, they were vilified. They had a really bad run of it. So I think that if they saw something untoward that was unconnected to them, but they've witnessed it and it's been something slightly freaky, yeah, I can't say that I do blame them for deciding not to say anything. But, you know, we don't know. Another theory, could it have been a wild animal? But if this happened, wouldn't the workers have heard something? Well, you would think so. You would think so. Now, there's some bizarre theories that go hand in hand with this one as well. So you've got the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or Dogman theory. Now, as these creatures are fast, they're quiet, they could carry... No, Julie, they've never found him. They've never found his body. They are capable of carrying a grown man away quickly, but the workers heard nothing. Now, you can then go into the whole cloaking, because people who have seen Sasquatch and Dogman and Goatman or whatever, and they have said that these creatures are able to cloak, in which case you probably wouldn't see them, you probably wouldn't hear them. That's just a theory there. Another theory, a portal. Did Chris fall into a time portal or into another dimension? Although this theory is straight out of a science fiction movie, but it would possibly explain the sudden disappearance. Do you remember we were talking about the national parks ranger in America who was on one of his days off, was having a hike through, I think it was, I'm going to say Yellowstone, and was coming along the path and saw right in front of him, vertical, like shimmering, a bit like the center of, do you remember the series Stargate? It was a bit like that. He extended his arm, he put his hand towards it, and his hand disappeared into it. So he just backed up very slowly, turned around and went in the opposite direction. He only noticed it because he happened to be looking up. He said if he hadn't been looking straight ahead, if he'd been looking to the side, looking down, reading a map, whatever, he'd have walked straight into it and he wouldn't have known. And he was saying, could this account for some of the disappearances in the national parks in America? Right. Could this account for what's happened to Chris? Who can say? And then the last one is the biggie, aliens. Alien abduction would explain, get this bit, how he was flipped upside down, losing his boot on the fence. If he's going upwards, then that would explain all the change falling out of his pocket, wouldn't it? If he's upside down. Or could it be that a creature you know, a dog man, a Bigfoot, whatever, has picked him up and had hold of him by the ankle, lifted him straight up in the air and to hoik him over the, hoik him over the fence. One leg's trailing, that catches and the boot sticks on the fence while the hold of his other leg, and all the money drops out of his pockets. What do you think? It does sound like that, Julia, and I'll be honest with you, that's the way that I'm going. I'm not going with alien, I'm not going with a portal. I'm more inclined to think it was a cryptid creature of some sort, that whether it was cloaked or not, I think it came in at speed. I think he didn't even have a chance to scream. Probably hit him with such force that it might have stunned him and knocked him unconscious. You know, a bit like you get the killer whales when they are going after seals, and sharks do it as well. No, there was no blood said. There was nothing. All they had was the boot, the coins directly underneath the boot, and his work tools, and and the little tiny piece of cloth, which would suggest he went over that barbed wire fence and not in an upright position. Now, as I was saying then, you think about when killer whales and when great white sharks are going after seals, they'll hit them with such force that it stuns them, and then they just come back and eat them at the leisure. Is it too ridiculous to say that one of these creatures, and I'm going to go, yeah, I'm not going to decide between Bigfoot or Dogman, but let's say one of these creatures comes in fast, which we know they can travel fast, hits him with such force, body slam, knocks him senseless, has just picked him up and over, gone. Because these things can, they could take that fence in one step. Who can say? So that's where I'm going. But no, there was no blood said. And then obviously the second boot was found 5 months later. But he's never been found. They've never found any other trace of him. He's not in that swamp. His boot was, but he wasn't. But again, water, woodland. I don't know if there's a cemetery nearby. There might be. In fact, I could do with trying to check that out, couldn't I? See if there's any cemeteries or burial grounds near there. Probably would show up if I try and look on Google Maps. And this is again this is one for that is slightly similar with the missing 411 cases, because if hi at bedtime, like we're watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, is there another one going on, or are you watching the one that was on originally? I hate her. Shitbag. Well, we've been talking about Dogmen and so in here to good. I hope he wins, skanky bitch. Don't believe a word she said, and I'm all for standing up for the, I'm not victim shaming. I don't think she was a victim at all. I think she's a liar. He had loads of support over here when he was here for the trial. Sorry, I just got slightly sidetracked then. But with the missing 411 cases, when David Paulides has certain criteria that the missing people have to they fit in with, No, he didn't. Bedtime. She won, and I don't know how. I really don't. I think there's a few palms greased, let's say. Um, with David Paulides, the missing 411 stuff, one of the criteria, or one of the commonalities, shall we say, of these people who have gone missing is when they are found or not, when they're found, many times they are missing their shoes. They've had shoes on when they went, but they're missing them when they're found. Or their shoes are found and they aren't. Well, knock me down with a lump of shit. Exactly the same thing here. He's missing his shoes. So something's happened. I think there's some similarity there. Except I don't think this was, I might be wrong, but I'm sure this isn't a national park. But hopefully somebody can, can enlighten me on that. If a swamp, could it be a snake ate him whole, jumped out of the way, banged his head, made him unconscious, but it followed him and swallowed him? I don't know. I don't know that it would have. And I genuinely don't know, Julia. Um, but it would have to be something like anaconda size, and I don't think there are any anaconda. Well, I don't know, but I'm presuming there aren't any anacondas in Georgia. And if it had eaten him, I used to have a snake, not a big one like that, but I used to have a snake. And if a snake had swallowed a meal of that size, so, as in a grown ass man, if it was a big enough snake that was able to swallow a human being of that size, it wouldn't have moved. It would have struggled to have moved after, swallowing him. And it would have stayed more or less in the same place. Well, this is it, Frida. The shoes, this shoe thing, we don't know what it is, but obviously he looks like he hasn't taken his off. It looks like one of his shoes has been dragged off, because the other thing was, it was those type of boots that, you didn't have them fastened tight. Now, whether it was him making a bit of a fashion statement, I don't know, but it would have come off pretty easily if it caught on something. If they were laced up tight, they wouldn't have. So yeah, a baffling mission. There could totally be anacondas in southern Georgia if you talk about the US. All right, okay, bedtime. Thank you. Yeah, it was just a question that Julia asked about this guy, but I would expect an anaconda, if it was big enough to have swallowed a man whole, that it would be that big of a meal that the anaconda would not have. We're only talking a matter of minutes. It would still be in the very close proximity, because the swampland was about just under a mile away. I think it's about 900 yards away. So I don't think in the time taken that it would have been able to travel and traverse the terrain back towards that swampland in the time it took for the work colleagues to realize he was missing, turn round, check, and and not see a sign of anything. And also the other thing as well, it was a barbed wire fence, so I'm wondering if, and there was no mention of any gaps in this fence. So I would think if it was maybe a snake that would be big enough to swallow a man, that it would have left some traces of itself on the fencing, whether it be scales or flesh, either going over or under the barbed wire. Maybe. Just a thought, just throwing a few out there. So yeah, we've had a few weird and wonderfuls tonight. Again, I'm relaying that one because I think it fits in with our other stories, but that's my personal opinion. And you all know I like a bit of you like a bit of dog, man. I nearly said like a bit of dogging then, but my name's not Tisney Denny. So, what think you? Any thoughts? Or do you agree with any of the theories that people have thrown out there? As I said, I'm inclined to think cryptid creature. Just trying to see if I can find. I had found some stuff on the workmates. But, as usual, I can't find it now. Bloody hell. It is, and the fact that he's never been found, Sid, this is 20 years he's been missing. And, he was only 50 feet away from his work colleague. 50 feet away. But, that's not unusual because we've talked about, I don't know if you were in here for the chats we've had about missing 411. And I'd like to do a few of those. That can be us in a line, being a couple of feet away, you turn round to talk to the person behind you, you turn back and I've vanished. And there's no sign of me. Either side of the path, in front, behind, nothing. You'll get tracker dogs to come up. The tracker dogs will turn up and they either can't scent or refuse to. So I just thought that was quite interesting as a bit of a roundup to our it's not as gory as the other. I still wanted to keep with the mystery angle, but I didn't want it to be as gory as the other stories that we told. So, there's me with all my notes. I told you I was trying to dig up some weird and wonderful stuff for you all to start discussing. But it's funny that Green Eyes has heard the same story a couple of days ago. That's really weird. The fact that it happened. But then again, it's 20 years ago, so maybe a few people are looking at, covering it just purely because it's the 20-year anniversary. Well, I have to examine the workmate statements of police search results, really. Yeah, they've never budged on what they said happened. The police search, as I said, it turned nothing up. I mean, it must have been a pretty shit search because they didn't even get as far as checking around the swampland, which was only 900 yards away. But what turned up from the police was just the boot and the 12 cents. That was just the change he'd had in his pocket, and his tools and the little piece of cloth. Nothing else. No sign, no footprints, no sign of struggles, no blood, nothing. Just nothing. It was like he was whipped over that fence and disappeared. And the other boot fell off as he was, I don't know, being carried, being flown. Who can say? But the other boot dropped off, just under a mile away. Very strange. Very strange. So it is, and there's tons of these stories. Some of them are, I mean, this one's a weird one. but there's a couple that are so bizarre, it's unreal. And you're listening to them think, and just to yourself, you're just like, what the fuck? What the actual what? Because they're so bizarre, but they are documented and they are factual and they have happened. So a few of those I want to cover, but they're not dogmen related. These are like the national parks disappearances. They're very, very interesting ones. And that's another thing as well. If anybody, I don't know if you've got Prime. I think it's still available there on Prime. Missing 411. There are 2 films on there by David Paulides, Missing 411 and Missing 411 The Hunted. Both are well worth a watch. That would kind of give you a little bit of background information on a couple of the stories that I want to cover. Mr. Ballon has also covered a few of the Missing 411 stories. As you'll know, I've followed David Paulides in forever. So, Twitter, and then he obviously then came onto YouTube because people were using his content and claiming to be him, and they actually weren't. So to stop this happening, he set up his own channel on YouTube. And he has got a significant following now, which is really good. So I have got quite a few interesting and weird stories lined up for you all, because I did promise I'm going to start doing 2 to 3. Ronaldo playing for Man U just disappears. I wonder if they're cloaked when they grab you. Maybe that covers you as well and you become invisible. That's what I think, Julia. That's what I think. Because you keep getting these reports about the, like the Predator on the Predator movies. And when it's kind of invisible, but it's invisible, but not. It's a bit shimmery up in the trees. There are people seeing that as well, that type of thing. It was very good, that one, Frida. Or probably sounds a bit like AD when the taxman comes knocking. Hey. Oh, and just because I've mentioned him, let me see. Especially for shitload. We gave you a mention. We have to give you your full credits, love. There you go. Have that. So I'm going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes, only because my phone is once again going flat. You don't get a lot of charge when you're oh, I can't, Frida, I have to. At least I didn't mention his gimp suit. Blech. Yeah, you don't have to go through power when you're on StreamYard. It's a bit mad. So yeah, Sunday, those of you who can and want to, it would be really good if you can come and join us. We'll have a load of giggles. Tismy Denny is going to come up on panel. Well, I need an extension lead for yeah, but he lied to me. He told me that there was a plug hole behind the sofa and there actually wasn't. I would have gone and done it in bed, but he's in bed watching the telly, so I can't. I've had to sit down here. Oh, thank you, Green Eyes. Thank you. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. So yeah, Sunday, come as whoever you like. whoever you like. Oh, thank you, Frida. Thank you. We'll have a bit of a laugh. I'll have been out. So it's my niece's wedding the day before. And then Sunday afternoon, I am going to be out at my relative's house. We're going for Easter Sunday meal. And then, obviously, as I've just been told, Porky's starting his nights at 10 o'clock on Sunday night. So he won't be getting pissed. I might be. So you might have a rather drunken Jax and Tismy Denny. I'll ring back to the beginning and listen while I drive home. Oh, I'm sorry we've missed your bedtime, but it's really good to see you, Chuck. But we're going to do, I do the incognito nights and everybody comes in as somebody silly. I'm going to do that on Sunday. And then next week, I'm going to go back to properly trying to... Always Porky on your TV as well. It's always interesting or funny, but always worth stopping by. Oh, thank you, Sid. Well, hopefully Sunday will be fun. I mean, knowing Denny, we'll probably end up having a discussion about something, and I do want to hear about her freaky, whatever it was, freaky that happened to her while she was away for a birthday last weekend. So that'll be quite interesting. But I know it's just going to end up as a load of piss taking and rather hilarious laughter. So I know, Frida, me too. How's Voodoo as well? I've not seen her for yonkers. We love Voodoo. I've not seen Cassius either though. And there was somebody else had. Oh, Sheila. I keep missing Sheila. Although she was watching Friday, she was catching up on it and left me a message. I think it was Fridays because she'd missed it. But everybody who's here, it's brilliant anyway that you're all coming in. So yeah, we'll have a bit of a giggle, and then I've got some shit hot stuff lined up for next week because I'm making the time now that I'm less busy at work temporarily, and we've moved house and all sorted. I've now got the time to actually do some proper research, like I was trying to do with these things, looking up facts. And actually, hang on, bedtime. Before I go, you might be able to answer me a question. Because you're going to be listening back to what we've been discussing. This is if you've not already gone listening back, in which case I'm going to be talking to myself. But there is yes, he's now got his little camera. Brilliant, Julia. And you can come up on panel if you want as well, Julia, Frida, Green Eyes, Bedtime, anybody who wants to, whoever it's Starlight, who else, Sid, anybody, Paula. Yeah, I've got him his little camera, Frida, but because he started this job, it's been a bit funny with his the days he's working and his hours and what have you. So he's been doing different shifts. He was always intending to do nights. He's now starting them, he's just said, on Sunday night. So we just have to find out when he is not working and when he is working, and then we can. But I want to go up to Heysham Head, Frida. That's my thing. You know where those grave cuts were? The Viking graves that were cut into the stone. That's going to be my thing. So, and I want to go there. But yeah, he's got all the stuff's ready. It's just trying to fit the timing because, like I said, with this working, plus we've had his daughter staying with us all week as well. So she's only just gone home. So it's been a little bit tricky, but we are trying to sort it out. But yeah, please stick with him because he will be doing it. But we had to live. Bedtime Clown, if you're still there. If you're not, you'll find this question as you come to the end of it. The same question I was asking Danny after dark. Would it be usual for a I might not, Frida. I might not, because it's no holds barred. You can come as whatever. Like I said, I can't come as what I started laughing about because I thought of my name because half of you'd stop following me forever. You'd think I was vile. So I'll have to think of another one. Yeah, bedtime clown. Can you think of any reason if there was a suspected dog attack, if somebody was killed by a dog, would there be any reason why the local sheriff's department would then call in the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations to investigate it? Just seemed a bit dodgy to me, but I do not know how your law enforcement works, so I'm going to bow down to your greater knowledge, obviously, of your own country's LEOs and their said practices. I'll come back to check. You can, if you come across it after you've listened, if you can put something in the comments, because I'd really like to know. Okie dokie, guys and gals, lovelies and beautifuls and wonderfuls. I am going to call halt now. I will see you all hopefully Sunday, 8 p.m. UK time. As I said, the lovely Denny will be up on panel. Anybody else is welcome to come up and join in on panel, just like having a chat on, you know, on the phone with your mates. We can have a bit of a giggle. Come incognito, come as whatever you like. I don't even care if you want to slag people off. Do what you like. It's an absolute no holds barred. Nobody's going to get stopped from doing anything. So let's have a bit of fun. Okie dokie. On that note, I'm going to say good night. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your support and coming in and listening. And take care. Love you lots like jelly tots. And I will see you all on the bright side.